All right, well, it is about that time. Hello, everyone, and happy Wednesday. It's digital host AJ Wuest here, welcoming you back to Before the Four, of course, the live stream where I go through some of 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast, wherever you're watching Before the Four this afternoon, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or our 48 Now live stream. As always, I say it every day. Thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your Wednesday afternoon here. Now, a 48 first alert weather day has been issued for tomorrow due to the rain and high winds. We're going to turn it over to 48 first alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis for the latest. Brad?
Well, temperatures slowly warming up even with the clouds. We've got some drizzle, most of which is along and north of the Tennessee River. As far as your commute goes this evening, shouldn't be too bad. The morning commute may be a little bit worse because we're going to have more rain out there tomorrow morning. But temperatures will hold in the 50s most of the night. That was a very quick look at radar. You saw enough of it behind me, though. Here's a look at the next 12 hours. Rain chances really pick up after 10 o'clock tonight. Everything's tracking to the east-southeast. So here we are around 7 o'clock this evening. Notice the temperatures holding steady with that south wind at 8, gusting to 15, and just very light rain and drizzle through probably midnight. And to be quite honest, we may not have a whole lot of rain for the early morning commute. This forecast has been kind of tough to narrow down, and one of the main reasons is the movement of it. Starting to move a little faster, and that means it'll move through sooner, and therefore heavy rainfall. The biggest concern would be 8 o'clock in the morning through roughly 11 o'clock. A few thunderstorms, but absolutely no threat of severe weather as this moves through. We'll be able to let that first alert weather day go sometime around noon tomorrow. But again, it's not for any severe weather, no flooding, just impact out there for your driving. We just want to make sure we give you that alert. 70 on Friday, 74 Saturday. Even nicer on Sunday with a high of 74. Rain chances next week. We'll talk about those at 4, 5, and 6.
All right, that is great to know. Thank you, Brad. And also, don't forget, if you're watching at home right now, 48 First Alert Weather Extra. It's live streamed tonight at 9:30. That's wherever you're watching Before the 4 right now. So that's Facebook, that's YouTube, that's our news app, the 48 Now live stream on WAFF.com. But First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis, he'll be back here in the streaming center. He'll go through the radar. He'll see y'all's comments, any thoughts, questions, concerns you might have. Brad will shout you out, and he will work to answer any of those questions. So you're just not going to want to miss it. 48 First Alert Weather Extra. But now let's dive into some of the day's top news stories. And an Athens man was arrested for over 200 counts of cyber-related crimes involving a girl in Louisiana. Now, this is 24-year-old Landon Westfall. He was arrested after a joint investigation with the FBI, which began in October of last year. Westfall was booked on multiple charges, including criminal assistance to suicide, indecent behavior with a juvenile, and child pornography. Officials say he met the underage victim on Roblox. He was extradited to Louisiana, and 48's Nick Ballinger will have more details on this situation coming up in our evening newscasts. But now Waterloo High School in Lauderdale County will be closed for the next few days due to illness. School officials say many students and staff members have been absent in recent weeks. Lauderdale County School Superintendent Jerry Hill and Waterloo High School Principal Tim McFall encourage students and employees to follow health protocols, including washing hands frequently and disinfecting personal items. The school will be closed on Thursday and Friday. But now today was the day, y'all. This morning, Alabama's very first IKEA opened up here in Huntsville. This morning, hundreds lined up outside to get a first-hand look. The first 100 people received free promotional items. Now, this IKEA store is soon to be the only one between Dallas, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia, after the Memphis location closes in May. But as you can see, everyone is super excited to get in the door. Someone's ordering a veggie dog right there. I hear the food's really good. Our own Liz Hurley has been talking about it all week. those Swedish meatballs. I'm definitely going to have to make my way out there, but some exciting stuff there. Alabama's first IKEA. But now with that, we're going to head to break, but coming up, recapping last night's State of the Union address and a story down in Mobile on promises made and promises kept. It's all ahead. We'll go through it all in 1 minute. All right, break time over. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Before the Four. Now to Washington, where President Donald Trump delivered a history-making State of the Union last night. He used that nearly 2-hour-long speech to defend his record and draw a sharp contrast with Democrats. Washington correspondent Stephen Goyne breaks down the key moments and has reaction from Capitol Hill.
On Tuesday, President Donald Trump said America is entering a golden age, but Democrats have a very different view of where the country is headed. During his State of the Union, President Donald Trump touted what he called a strong economy while blaming Democrats for rising costs, even as many Americans remain concerned about affordability.
Inflation is plummeting. Incomes are rising fast. The roaring economy is roaring like never before.
Trump also slammed the Supreme Court after 6 justices blocked his emergency tariffs just days before the address, and he laid out foreign policy priorities in places like Venezuela and Iran.
My preference is to solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon.
Overnight, there were ceremonial moments as well, including recognition for military service members and the U.S. men's Olympic hockey champions. Republicans had virtually nothing but praise.
I thought it was a great speech. I thought it gave a pretty clear diagnosis of the things that have happened that have been very positive in the last year. Securing the border, crimes down, the economic outlook's looking better.
But Democratic lawmakers pushed back. Some protested inside the House chamber. Congressman Al Green of Texas was removed early on in the address. Dozens of other Democrats attended a counter-rally on the National Mall.
His cruelty and his indecency, we are more divided now than at any time since the Civil War.
Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger delivered the official Democratic Party response. She offered up a contrasting message ahead of the midterms, claiming the president was to blame for high costs, also accusing Trump of corruption.
Cozying up to foreign princes for airplanes and billionaires for ballrooms, putting his name and face on buildings all over our nation's capital. This is not what our founders envisioned.
In Washington, I'm Stephen Goen.
All right, now take a look at this. An iconic restaurant in Mobile, Alabama, has had a promise posted on its wall for nearly a century. And a 99-year-old man and his 80-year-old son finally showed up to collect. Darwin Singleton has the story of how a promise made became a promise kept.
Jimmy Rush has a constant craving for oysters. Always has, at least for most of his 99 years. How do you like to eat them?
Open them and eat them.
You don't put anything on them?
Not if I'm opening my own oysters. I don't want anything on them.
But today, Jimmy wasn't opening his own oysters. No, the folks at Winsel's Oyster House in Mobile, Alabama did the shucking for him. Part of a birthday party for Jimmy's son, Jimmy, who turned 80 years old today. Well, no doubt about it, Jimmy loves oysters, and Wenzel's is very good at serving them. They've been doing it since 1938. But there's another reason why Jimmy and his family came here today to eat oysters, and that reason is right up there. Out of the thousands of little postings of sage wisdom on the walls at Wenzel's, there's this one: free oysters to any man 80 years old, accompanied by his father. First of all, have you all been talking about this together for a while?
Oh, yeah, years.
For years?
Yeah, he saw the sign one time when he was in here.
Seen it, and we've talked about it. We've come down and looked at it many times to make sure that, and we asked him, is this for real?
And today it's for real.
Today is for real.
Jimmy Sr. developed his affection for these slick little sliders when he was growing up and transferred his fancy for the shellfish to his daughter and sons, who grew up on Mobile Bay, where the oysters were there for the taking, says his daughter Dorothy.
And it wasn't very deep. It was only about 8 foot deep. But they would go out with the tongs and tong it and bring them in, and we lined up.
You know, I like chocolate ice cream, but I can't eat it all the time.
I can eat oysters all the time.
Wonder where she got that from. But it was a craving Jimmy took with him into the Navy, where he served in both World War II and the Korean conflict, then to his job at the post office, where he worked for 32 years in Mobile, and Wenzel's became his go-to for you-know-what. And then his son saw that sign.
A lot of the signs in here are novelty. That's a novelty, kind of, but when it happens, it kind of breaks the novelty of it.
It was a promise.
Yeah.
Mike Vickers is a general manager of the original Wenzel's Oyster House downtown, where the sign's been hanging for, about 88 years. What is it about oysters?
I'm starting to think it's longevity. I feel like they've given people longevity because everybody that comes in, they've been around a long time, remember things. So that would be a lot of it. But it's kind of like the whole, sitting at the bar talking to the bartender. It's just the food version, sitting at the oyster bar.
Talking to the shucker.
Talking to the oyster shucker.
But enough talk. Jimmy came here to eat, for free, of course. And at 99, he's ready to do it all over again when Carl, son number 2, turns 80 a little over 2 years from now.
We literally have been talking about this for decades. That's the reason there's so many people here that wanted to come down to be part of it. And so some of my friends, they were glad it happened today so they could quit hearing about it.
Well, you heard it here first. Maybe that's the key to a long, happy life. Maybe it's eating some oysters, as he mentioned, a longevity. How do y'all feel about oysters if you're watching at home right now? Leave a comment. I am actually not very much of a fan of the raw oysters for sure. I just don't like that texture, I guess, that almost snotty texture. But I ate a fried oyster once, and it wasn't too bad. I would probably get it again. But yeah, how do y'all feel? Let me know how you feel about oysters. But really cool story right there down in Mobile, Alabama. But with that, let's go into the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscasts. Details on an ICE raid in Meridianville. Faith Delp will have the latest on that. Lauderdale County economic funding. Get those details and the latest on renovations happening at an outlet center in Boaz. Will Eldridge will have that story coming up, and these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscasts. And y'all know what time it is now. It is, of course, time for our Facebook fun segment, our Facebook 48 question of the day. What's the best gift you've ever received? And let me tell you, I have been very blessed in my nearly 26 years of life to have received tons and tons of awesome gifts. My parents, every Christmas, always got me what I wanted. My birthday always got me what I wanted. My girlfriend got me a record player last Christmas, not this past Christmas, but the one before, and I've been collecting vinyl records. I have probably 150 vinyl records now, and that was definitely an awesome gift that kickstarted something I'm really passionate about now. Tons of good. I don't think I can even choose one. I remember when I was 5, I got a 4-wheeler for Christmas, had a great time with that. I got a trampoline. Yeah, I got a batting cage. I played baseball growing up. I had a batting cage one year. I've had a lot of great gifts, but what I want to know is what you all have to say. What do you got to say? What's the best gift? Some birding guides. Okay, Matthew Press. Looks like he is into birding. Awesome stuff there. Thank you for commenting, Matthew. Wanda said, my children. Absolutely. That is the greatest gift of them all, I'm pretty sure. Children, awesome stuff. Magdalena said, my husband and kids. 100%. Thank you so much for commenting, Magdalena. Let's see what else y'all had to say. Jillian, a coffee pot, a massage gun, because after I hit 30, my whole body hurts. Absolutely. Good to have that caffeine. Good to have a massage gun. Would love to have one of those right about right now as well. Dominic said fishing gear and ammo. Ammo's expensive. That is always a great gift to have. Amanda said the gift of life. 100% every day we get to wake up with the gift of life, and we're just so blessed to live another day. Brianna said a heated mattress cover. Mike Billups said Super Nintendo. Sounds like you all have had some pretty awesome gifts, and I love seeing all y'all's comments, the different stuff you all have to say. Not everyone is different, so that's what makes us all so special. Awesome stuff as always, y'all. You always have awesome comments for our 48 Facebook question. But y'all, it is 3:57. That is just about all the time I have for today's Before the Four. But thank you so much for spending a bit of your Wednesday afternoon here. I hope you all have a great night tonight. Enjoy our evening newscasts. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You all have a great night.